Hello everyone, welcome to this first session of our brand new series on Zentangle Black and White. In the previous session, the introductory session, we prepared a few tiles on which we used some black ink and created some black portions randomly, right? On the same tile, we have both black and white. Now we are going to tangle over it, yes, and have some fun. So let's get started with today's session. What I'm going to do first is create some further lines extending till about half of this section, starting right from top, something like this, giving a slight curve, and adding one more aura there, again adding one more section, adding an aura, adding one more section, right? And I'm going to continue these lines further into the black section also. So I have switched my pen to black to white jelly roll. This is 08, and again I'm going to add another aura inside. So when you are using the jelly roll, keep a black paper handy so that in case it skips, you can just run over the paper and it starts to work again. Right, so we have some random sections here. I'm going to add one last. Also, jelly roll takes a little while to dry, so it's not a good idea to put your hands immediately after you have used it, right? And then I'm going to add some orbs inside, basically like pork, the way we squeeze in orbs. I'm going to do that same exercise here. So these are just suggestions. You can choose your tangles, you can choose whichever tangle you feel like drawing at that point of time. That's perfectly fine. As you can see here, I'm squeezing in orbs. I'm not really drawing the entire orb, but drawing behind. And once we are done with that, just go back and fill up these small little spaces left between the orbs. It definitely adds to the look. Right, so take your time and slowly go to each and ink it. Again, let's go with the second. So I'm again starting with these orbs, small ones, and then increasing the size gradually, going with the spaces I have, filling in the small intersectices at the same time, or you can get back to them later, whichever way you are comfortable or used to. You can also squeeze in further smaller orbs if you want in those spaces. Right, so those are two sections. Now again switching to our jelly roll. So let's start here. Small orbs gradually turning into bigger orbs. Again, following the same principle of drawing behind. So if you want the lines to be a little bolder, you can also use your 10 jelly roll 10. However, 5 I would not recommend since it is for very fine lines. Again going back, adding some extra white wherever required, right? And again moving to the next the same way. So I guess now you got a hang of how to draw the orbs, how to squeeze in the orbs. So draw at your own pace. Yeah. So I'm done with that. Now let us move on to our second angle. So as you can see here, this kind of a shape that is formed here is suitable for many tangles that we already know. For example, something like Muka. This kind of shape is also very nice for drawing the tangle drawings, or something like Sena, right? So many tangles which would look better using this kind of a curvy shape. However, you can draw anything if you like. You can start with probably let us place a Bronx cheers here, the Bronx cheers flowers, and see how does it work out. So I'm just randomly selecting tangles, not thinking much what where. Started with a simple flower, and then I'm going to keep extending it. Slowly, take your time. Just extend the flower. As much as you wish to. Let us extend it a little more. So I'm going to take it to the black portion also. Something like this. And then again switch pens. So as you go further away, it's better to reduce the size of the petals. Right, I think this much would be enough. If you want, you can add few more layers, but I would stop here. Let us now draw the second angle. So I'm going to start with a triangle called Sena. Yeah, so let's start drawing our lines. I'm going to start with curvy lines. Add a little weight as I end. So I've just randomly started to draw lines, taking one side of my Bronx chair flower as a base, something like this. And then I'm just going to go with the shape wherever the lines take me. Take your time. So first I'm drawing lines in one direction, then probably we will switch and draw lines in some other direction. That's the fun of Sena. You can maneuver your lines the way you wish to. Right? Now I'm going to change the direction and come from that side, probably have some fun. So probably I'll come this way. Yes, so first let us draw the lines and then we can convert the other part of the line instead of changing the pen again and again. Yes, the black ink is showing on my black part of the tile also. So I'm just going to draw the lines first and then so that they are in a flow. Yeah. So this part probably will go black and then I'm going to pick up my jelly roll and convert this part into white. So you need to be a little patient, take your time. You can also change your lines, you need not follow exactly what you have drawn. Enjoy the process, enjoy the lines. Don't try and replicate it because it will not be possible to replicate so many lines. In fact, just go by the way, just follow the process. That's what is important. So I'm now kind of changing the direction of the line again, enjoying drawing my Senna the way I wish to. Just lines. Yeah. So now the rest of the tile, that was Senna. It is up to us how do we, whether we want to extend our Senna a little more or we can add some other tangle, whatever we feel like. So I'm going to draw a tangle called squid, right? So I'm going to use this circle and then draw some tentacle shapes, nice tentacle shapes, and draw the tangle squid. Yeah. So starting right from here again, some really flowy lines, adding a little weight to the second line as I draw. Yes, and we will also embellish it a little, probably add some puffs or dots around. But before that, let us first add these nice and flowy long. Squid is again a tangle, looks something like a sea creature. Looks inspired from a sea underwater creature, right? So now I'm going to extend and draw behind wherever possible because that adds to the look of this tangle. Take your time. Go slow. Add big ones. So you cover the maximum space. Hidden ones. Take your time. Draw as many as you feel like. Need not start right from here. You can start from anywhere. Probably one wrapped around like this. So be patient, find spaces, take your time, don't be in a hurry. Similar to drawing a vertigo, just that here we want it to look like squid. Right? Now squid has one more thing. It has these small bubbles or tipple in the beginning area, this area. So here wherever you find very small spaces, just put in some small tiny tipples. Because it adds to the look of this tangle. Yeah. So I am done with drawing my tentacles. Now if you want, you can add some bit of embellishment. For example, you can add some dots on one side or just at one end at the top, right? So this is what I am going to do for most of my tentacles probably. Just add some dots, little embellishment there. Slowly take your time. Go to each or at least most of them and add that small puff or dot or orb, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the same way. So now that we are done with our tangling, I'm not going to do anything in the rest of the space. We shall see if we need to add some shadows. We can do that later. Yeah. Some bit of tiny tipple. So let's get to shading now. So I'm going to start with my graphite and first add some graphite on one side of my flower that I've drawn in the center. You can also add some bit of ink, extra ink here and there inside the flower, wherever there are turnings. It generally adds to the look of this Bronx chair flower. Just a little bit, not much. And then you can also shade on your jelly roll, not an issue. So I'm adding graphite on one side of my jelly roll also. Following the same process with my graphite pencil, whether it is the black surface or the white surface. As far as Senna is concerned, again I'm adding some graphite at the ends. Places where lines are overlapping. You can add some extra gel here also, just to give a little more character. And again, place from where lines are emerging is a good idea always. As far as these tentacles are concerned, let us add underneath. So spaces are small, so just soft touches there. Just like a shadow. Slowly, take your time. Yeah, you can also highlight this place from where all the tentacles are emerging. Let's now blend. Blending the graphite on the black also. Soften it. Moving on to our squid. Let us now blend the shadow. Just a little, not much. Soft touches, preferably with the tip of your blender. Something like this. Yeah. And then let us blend on the white. So once we have blended that, now is the time for chalk. So use your chalk to highlight the other part of your flower. The in-between sections of your senna. Your chalk may or may not run on this ink, so you may have to press it a little harder. Right, and if you want you can highlight the other side of white also. It's optional, however, but yes, we will highlight this part on the black. Let us now use a different blending stub and soften the chalk. So soft touches there, very mild effect. But just make sure that the chalk doesn't look patchy. And I think we are more or less done. Yeah. So that's having fun with black and white. That's our first style of the series, and I'm going to close it here, and we will be doing quite a few tiles, about 4, 5 or 6 of them more. Right, if you want you can add a slight shadow here, or you can add some black pearls. Some kind of embellishment is always a good idea. If you don't like to keep spaces empty, then you may add some of these black pearls. Flying around, and just a bit of shadow underneath is all that you need. To make them look more real. Yes. So one more thing that you can do to re-emphasize the white highlights is to add some small dots with your jelly roll itself in these highlighted sections. Right, so if I want, I can use my jelly roll to add some very fine dots in these sections where I feel I want to highlight. It will just add a little extra zen. Very fine dots there, just to highlight a little more. Yeah. So let's close our tile now. Put in your chop. Must sign and date your tile. Today is I shall see you again with another new session of the series. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.